Hey, what's up? Yeah, so today we are going to talk about Star Wars and War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. So, have you guys watched Mandalorian yet? It's pretty good. Mandalorian, the show, it talks about how the reaches of the Galactic Empire from the Star Wars universe is spread out. They have decentralized themselves. So how do I know how do I infer this is like in the seventh episode of the second season, the empire has its own mining colony in a system, in a planet, which has these explosive minerals. So like the whole point of an empire is that you have an emperor on the top, right? And the emperor keeps giving instructions to the bottom, subordinates. So that's the centralized system. uh, all of it comes down to the galactic emperor. And if you notice, in one of the in the old movies of the original trilogy of Star Wars, any insubordination in the galactic empire, if you go and speak to the your superior or your manager, for any failure, Darth Vader would just execute you on the spot if for any incompetence. So in systems like that, there is not much hope of productivity, because for any, like, if there is a failure is not tolerated in an organization, then your employees, the people who work in that organization, are not incentivized to make an initiative. So herein lies one of the interesting things about how organizations work, and how a centralized top-down management system can often fail, especially in galaxy far, far away, where there is too many things happening. If you notice, if you watch Star Wars movies, you will see that, like, there are so many species, so many different alien species which are like vying for control. There's so much chaos out there, and the Galactic Empire is supposed to be the beacon of order. Now, similarly, let's go back to 200 years from now and talk about somebody else. So, Leo Tolstoy wrote, it's considered perhaps the greatest novel of all time, War and Peace. So, War and Peace talks about Napoleon Bonaparte's invasion to Russia. So this is like Napoleon invades Russia in 1808, and he again invades Russia in 1812. This is like the beginning of the 19th century. So it's very strange that the edition that I am reading of War and Peace right now was published the same time Hitler was invading Russia. And in the beginning of the introduction, he talks about how the guy who translated the book from original Russian is saying, "Look, Hitler is invading Russia right now. I hope he knows what he's doing, because the last time a guy did that, it did not go so well for him." And even in the book War and Peace, some of the Russians, they talk about, hey, like, how about 100 years ago there was a Prussian king who tried to invade Russia and he didn't do so well either. So Russia is like, you never invade Russia in the winter, basically, unless you're Genghis Khan, because Mongols, they are the exception. So, what is the point? Like, one thing Leo Tolstoy keeps talking about in the novel, like it keeps coming up, is that how Napoleon totally decentralized his army system, the army corps system, the CORPS, corps. I don't know whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was divided according to platoons, and platoons divided into squadrons, and there was a decentralized system such that there would be leaders in the groups. So having a decentralized system, like, people, Napoleon basically made other people leaders. So that's the whole point of like having a decentralized system, of having a bottom up approach. So why do I bring this up is that most of the time how we have a worldview is that there's always some guy on top. Even when people talk about that, um, like, the musicians have this kind of like, I'm talking about the cliche that musicians have, that you got to stick it up to the man, or it's like the proverbial they, like, they won't, the society will not let you do it. So it is always an assumption that there is somebody at the top controlling the strings, like a godfather figure. But consider that for a one person to have that much of bandwidth in his head to control all these intricacies, it's going to take like a lot of conscientiousness to do all those small things. So one of the books that I would like you to consider is Matt Ridley's The Evolution of Everything, where he talks about how there are emergent systems coming through when multiple groups of people, organizations come together and create something. So this all comes from a single source of idea all the way back in the Roman times by Lucretius. He wrote a poem, epic poem in a way, like, okay, it's called On the Nature of Things. So Darwin read On Nature of Things, Newton read The Nature of Things, and Adam Smith, the person who wrote Wealth of Nations and The Morality and Sentiments back in the 18th century, I think, or 19th century, I forget. But whatever. So those people, they took an empirical approach to systems, and they found out that, hey, nobody is actually running the show. It's not like a person's will is being exerted. It's like a person does what seems best to him, and out of different transactions, it seems to be a phenomena seems to be emerging. Okay, so similarly, in War and Peace, there is a point in the novel where one of the protagonists, there are multiple characters, protagonists in the novel. One of the protagonists is Prince Andrew Bolkonsky. So he is in the army. He is fighting in one of the major battles against Napoleon. And in the scene where he is in Borodino, Borodino is one of the most brutal battles that happen against Napoleon in the Napoleonic Wars between Russia. And he finds out that how can you say that Napoleon is such a great strategist, right? Because war has so much intricate stuff happening. Like, how can you say it was Napoleon's, smart thinking? Like, it could be anything. It could be even luck and stuff like that. And it's not that the Napoleon is ordering his men to march into Russia. It's like the people want a war, and they find that Napoleon is a perfect guy to be in the place where he is to like lead this war. And this got me thinking actually, like, oh, okay, so Napoleon was considered a celebrated military genius. Some even say he's a military artist. Like, that's how good he was. Like, people rank him as one of the best. Like, Napoleon won all of his 7 wars that he took part in, except for Waterloo, I guess. But and also the Peninsular War against Spain. But the whole point is that, what if it's all not necessarily a person's will, or it's just a matter of luck, maybe? Like, these are the questions that I'm starting to have as I'm reading this. So here again, the point with in Star Wars, how you have Luke Skywalker as the chosen one, that he's the one guy who's gonna take down Darth Vader and all that stuff. And here it's like the point about you do your actions and you don't know what the result is going to be about. Because just as when Thomas Edison invented the first light bulb, there are several other people who invented the light bulb too. Just as Charles Darwin came up with the origin of species, there was another French guy who came up with something similar to evolution too. When Newton was able to come up with calculus, Gottfried Leibniz also came up with calculus at the same time. So it's like there's an emergent phenomena that is invisible to us, coming through us, using us as vehicles, like Richard Dawkins' selfless gene, I suppose. So this is something I'm going to explore in the future too. And I'm sorry for the rambling nature of my videos, because I am focusing on kind of a content which I'm going to create with a niche. And I come up with a niche wherein I explore how innovation comes through. So yes, that's my mission now, to create innovation amongst entrepreneurs, because and artists, because I don't think there's a difference between artists and entrepreneurs. So this is me signing off. Thank you for watching, and bye.